What's switch? Back up Britain. Really? I mean, I can see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the royal back on the Britain, 4 and 5.
1,320 if you still get it. 1,360 if you get 1,320 if you get the chart and you get the box as well. I don't know if we have boxes. Oh yeah. Oh no!
Yeah.
I'll just go for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, Lest We Forget.
Oh, missed it.
So lined up down at the left-hand end of the runway and ready to roll from Fighter Aviation Engineering, this mighty single-seat, single-engine fighter, one of the biggest aircraft of that configuration of the Second World War, is the Republic C-17 Thunderbolt. after the Mustang came to the fore in the US Air Force. Second Flight Squadron of the 9th Air Force in the D-Day period.
I can't do it for everybody, Mum. Oh, tough luck.
In the European theatre, but also in the Pacific, that sort of survivability really mattered. We mustn't forget actually that the RAF flew Thunderbolts as well, 830 on.
I do what I actually do.
Yeah, I'm 16.
Right. Yes. I'll do the taxi one.
Taxi 110. Yeah, but you've got loads of
That's probably
stages.
shooting at 1-1. You've got to stay by there.
10 off then. No, we don't.
Such a charismatic aeroplane, beautifully flown, and a very, very important aeroplane for us to have as part of the lineup of airworthy Warbirds on hand with...
It's not going to do anything more than Mustang than that.
Gabriel Barton there, flying the Republic E-47D Thunderbolt. And we'll see the P-51 from the same operator, Fighter Aviation Engineering, a little later in the programme.
Hello, bright. See mine.
So, just looking ahead to what we have planned. And there it goes. And indeed, a very short takeoff for this aircraft, which was adapted from the civilian sector. The earlier type L4 and L5 designs that had data from World War II. First flew in see here, it's a very manoeuvrable platform at low level.
This display of manoeuvres, I think we should really just remember the role of this aircraft, because what it's doing now is what it did in its war role, but it did this right over the heads of the enemy. Its main job was to spot the positions of the enemy and then pass that information back to various platforms. That could be 4 F4s about to tip in and drop a lot of bombs. It could be to a ship out at sea, to fire a salvo of 16-inch caliber shells. It could be artillery pieces. But its job was to get very low, very close to the enemy, and to pass that information back. That is a very serious military role.
Yeah, the Forward Air Controller Airborne, as we now call it, FAC A. So capabilities that we're seeing, very manoeuvrable, good slow speed handling is exactly what it needs for that role, but not so good in terms of surviving the battlefield.
Nonetheless, if we were talking about how E-47 is sounded on the back of that was true of this, what might appear to be light aerospace today.
Engage, and it powers this aircraft to a top speed of Mach 2.
I can't believe it's freezing.
escort fighter. That's where Britain again was born. For the US 8th Air Force in the European theatre, and indeed for the US Army Air Forces out in the Pacific as well.
When the aircraft comes into landing attitude and the nose gets higher and higher, virtually no forward visibility, kind of like driving with your body. So many of these fighters make what we call the curved fighter approach, staying very tight to the runway, turning very tightly towards it, so you can at least keep sight of the runway for as long as possible, in this case out to the left-hand side of the canopy, and then kicking the aircraft straight at the last minute, looking left and right, hoping to see the edges of the runway, and then all should be well.
And they make up the vintage pair.
And then it's the F-16 after it.
Anything of excellent energy management. 145 horsepower from one of the great British aero engines, the de Havilland Gypsy Major 8, and you can see them converting that height into energy for their initial manoeuvre. Up into a very close formation loop. For the vintage pair this year, an initial 3 loops, turning tightly as they come up to the right-hand end of the display line, and of course maintaining close formation, Andy, in low-powered aircraft like this is very challenging. You can't open the throttle and suddenly accelerate, you'll hit the brake, start to slow down. Think about what's in there, far off. Aircraft flight military, and here is the static display. Super display aeroplanes, they come in for a crossover. The de Havilland test pilot Pat Fillingham used to put on fantastic fantastic aerobatic displays of chipmunks at Farnborough back in the 1950s, and then were later several
back towards you. I think the chipmunk, the vintage pair are doing it if they can.
Wait, that's actually pretty good. They're landing.
That's what he said. Yeah, Max. No!
Joking, I'm joking.
Well, I thought that was an absolutely splendid display by the vintage pair. David Peckers in the lead, John Higgins, number 2, with their pair of de Havilland Canada Chipmunk T10s. Utter nostalgia, but a wonderful display in the present day. I have not seen this aircraft in the UK with the historic flight before, but I know it did come to Britain in its former ownership with the Dutch Motor Association back in 1988. I don't think it's been over since then, so this is a real rarity. It's not displaying, it's heading back to the Netherlands via a stop at the Western near Silverstone, before then proceeding on with the Spitfire to the historic flight base in Hilderije. But we will, of course, use a Spitfire back with us for assault.
Is the beach 18 going back to the Netherlands?
We'd like to thank our sponsors and supporters here at the RAF Cosford Air Display this year, and we'd particularly like to thank our main sponsors today, Lockheed Martin. So thanks, as I say, to our other supporters, BAE, RTX, Leonardo, Rolls-Royce, Canon, University of Wolverhampton. Adventure 001 and Boardroom Gaming Cafe. Thanks to all the crew training roles, for example, dedicated bombing trainer, the AT-11 Kansan, of which there's one airworthy in Germany. Here's the Royal Netherlands Air Force historic flight example of the Beech 18 on takeoff.
Yeah, so do I.
No, because you have 35 veto, isn't it? You have 35 do dragons.
What way did I fly? Did I fly all the way around there?
It's alright. It's just an airbus saying it's deserted. The special paint job.
My ear.
Oh my god, look how
that is. My ear.
it's got its fuel probe open.
Bomb. Not bomb. The one that dropped bombs.
Fabulous first for Cosford. Now you can see the probe has been extended. Here in the UK you tend to
manoeuvre, the Royal Netherlands Air Force historic flight, the Spitfire. An incredible survivor, not just because of all of those combat operations,